Buy now, pay later services have become one of the fastest growing ways for South Africans to shop, offering consumers the convenience of spreading payments over time. As their popularity grows, so do concerns about whether consumers are receiving the same protections that apply to traditional forms of credit. The Credit Association of South Africa says greater transparency is a step in the right direction, but argues that stronger safeguards are needed to prevent over-indebtedness. Joining us to unpack the issue is the CEO of the Credit Association of South Africa, Leonie van Pletzen. A very good afternoon to you, Leonie. Thank you so much for your time and welcome. Perhaps let's start here. Buy now, pay later has exploded in popularity. For those who may have used it without thinking twice, how exactly does it work?
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Buy now, pay later allows consumers to receive goods immediately and pay for them over time, usually in 3 or 4 installments. It's designed to be quick, convenient, and digital, which is why it's becoming increasingly popular. So consumers should always remember that it still creates a future financial obligation.
So I know that there is a problem because having a look at your statement, which says BNPL, which is the acronym for Buy Now, Pay Later, providers aren't subject to the same consumer protection rules as opposed to traditional credit providers. Why is that such a concern as we look at the bigger picture?
Innovation is something we welcome, but innovation should never come at the expense of protection. Traditional credit providers are required to conduct an affordability assessment under the National Credit Act. Those requirements exist to protect the consumer taking on debt they can't afford. And our view is that consumers should receive this self-protection regardless of the finance it is offered.
So perhaps give us a practical example. Let's say one buys something today using the BNPL. What protection might one have or perhaps miss compared to taking out a personal loan or a store account?
So if you apply for a personal loan or a store account, the credit provider must generally assess whether you can realistically afford the repayments before granting you the credit. If you buy the same item through a BNPL product with equivalent affordability assessment, you may not receive that same safeguard. So CASA believes affordability should remain the first line of protection for every consumer.
There's also been a great deal of talk around responsible lending. I mean, you say it starts before credit is granted, yet some people could perhaps argue that BNPL isn't really credit. What is your take on that?
So our focus shouldn't be on what the product is called. It's on what it does. If consumers receive goods today and pay over time, they are taking on a financial obligation. And that's believe the principles of responsible lending, particularly affordability, should apply. Every consumer deserves the same protection regardless of the platform that they use.
Because as you and I speak, a lot of South Africans are under a significant amount of financial pressure. Do you think at all that BNPL risks becoming another debt trap, perhaps disguised as a convenient product?
So BNPL offers convenience and many consumers are using it responsibly. However, in an environment where households are already under financial pressure, it's easy for several small repayment obligations to become a huge commitment. So one purchase may seem manageable, but multiple obligations can quickly strain a household and their budget.
We know very quickly before we let you go that the National Credit Regulator wants, of course, improved reporting and transparency. The Credit Association of South Africa has welcomed that, but says it doesn't go far enough. What specifically do you think needs to be seen in terms of the changes to ensure that it does continue to be a product that is used responsibly and, of course, benefit consumers?
We welcome improved reporting, but transparency alone doesn't prevent over-indebtedness. We'd like to see affordability as aligns with the National Credit Act, apply to products that allows any future debt obligation, irrespective of what it's called. That would ensure consistent consumer protection across the market while it's still allowing innovation to thrive.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us, unpacking that issue. The CEO of the Credit Association of South Africa, Leonie van Pletzen, who says the buy now, pay later services are becoming fast ways growing for South Africans to shop, but warning that there is a danger of ensuring borrowing to people who may not qualify for it. So some insight there on the consumer segment.